Welcome to AQMD on the Air. I'm your host, Philip Crabb. Today our guest is the Senior Director of Transportation Technology at TIAX LLC. TIAX takes cutting-edge inventions and innovations and prepares them for commercialization. He is a member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, the Society of Automotive Engineers, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and the Air and Waste Management Association. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Jackson.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
Your company promotes the use of cleaner technologies. In your department, you work more with vehicles. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and the goals in terms of what you're trying to do?
Sure. Our mission has been for many years now to try to get cleaner fuels, cleaner vehicles into the marketplace. And not only from the light-duty or passenger vehicle side, but also from the heavy-duty trucking side. So trying to reduce the impact from a criteria emissions point of view, as well as from a greenhouse gas perspective, as well as from reducing our dependence on petroleum.
In the Sound Coast region, the main contributor to pollution is mobile sources and largely on-road vehicles.
Right.
However, there's also lots of options available in terms of light-duty vehicles, but there's also a serious problem with heavy-duty trucks that are used to move goods. What are some of the things that your company is working on in terms of the heavy-duty trucks?
Yes. We've done a lot of work on one, understanding what the technologies are and what the limitations of the technologies have been in the past. And primarily, when you go to these newer, cleaner technologies, they tend to be more expensive on the upfront cost, and potentially have fuel savings, so life cycle costs might work out, or they have external benefits that are not realized in terms of monetization, i.e. the emissions are reduced, therefore you get some benefit out of having those technologies in the marketplace. So we've done a lot of work to try to come up with ways of monetizing the benefits of those technologies, either from an emissions point of view or from a more efficient use point of view, to help the operators then justify the cost of the newer technologies. Those are some of the things that we've done to try to push that technology into the marketplace, get the emission benefits from an air quality perspective, as well as from a greenhouse gas perspective, and, by the way, reduce some of the petroleum dependency that we face.
You've worked a lot with policymakers and the government in your efforts to reduce the reliance on foreign oil. As part of this, one of the projects you've worked on has been the California Hydrogen Highway. Could you give us a few details in terms of that project and what's been involved with that?
Yeah, that project was actually an idea that was initiated by Governor Schwarzenegger. And the whole point of the Hydrogen Highway was you have zero emissions, zero tailpipe emissions that can result from that technology, which obviously would be good from an air quality perspective. And you're reducing your dependence on petroleum oil. You're basically not using any petroleum to produce the hydrogen, so that would be good from a petroleum dependency perspective. The issue with any kind of alternative fuel like hydrogen is the old chicken and egg problem. So you have the technology, but where is the infrastructure? And the whole idea of the Hydrogen Highway Network was to bring together all the stakeholders, those that would be producing the vehicles, those that would be producing the hydrogen, for example, those that would be distributing the hydrogen, such as your local fueling stations, and people that understand the environmental benefits, that could quantify what the environmental benefits are, what the economics are of the various options for hydrogen, and how do you put that whole picture together in order to make that system work. In other words, implement that system into California. And that really is the foundation. I mean, you had all kinds of things you have to worry about, such as, do you have the right safety standards? Are the people that are going to permit the fueling stations familiar with the technology? Do they understand the various safety features that have to be implemented? Or are they going to implement features that are from previous fuels like gasoline? So, I mean, they're different fuels, you have to do different things. So the whole idea was to come up with a foundation, pretty much a blueprint of how you would take that technology forward. Technology is being developed by the manufacturers, it's there, but how do you get it integrated into the communities? And that was the foundation for a lot of the work that's being done here in the South Coast in terms of putting together now stations that are publicly accessible and selling hydrogen. And now you're starting to see, some cars being put into the infrastructure. Also some heavy duty type applications are also being looked at. So it was an important effort, public-private type partnership to work to lay the foundation to prepare for getting hydrogen into the infrastructure.
And alternative fuel cars, as you've spoke about earlier, provide some cost savings over traditionally gas-powered vehicles. However, sometimes the public may not be able to purchase some of these vehicles due to some higher pricing or market demands. What are some of the incentives that are available for alternative fuel vehicles that you could talk about?
Yeah, the key issue with a lot of the alternative fuel vehicles is that their upfront cost is higher than, say, your conventional gasoline or diesel. Mm-hmm. And let's take the case of natural gas. Natural gas vehicles have a fueling system that costs considerably more than the fueling system on gasoline cars. But at the same time, so the first cost of the vehicle is more expensive, but at the same time you can go out and buy natural gas on an energy equivalent basis that's cheaper than the gasoline. So over the long-term life cycle of that vehicle, you actually save because you're buying fuel that's cheaper, that's offsetting the higher price of the car. Now, incentives are needed to help push the market a little bit or pull the market along. And the incentives are provided by both the federal government and the state government, as well as local incentives that AQMD has put together. Money that flows down from the state. A good example of that, at least in the heavy-duty side, has been the Carl Moyer program, named after one of our former colleagues. The idea is to try to capture or monetize the environmental benefits that would justify these higher costs. And then the idea is as you increase the volume, the manufacturing volume, you would drop the cost because the manufacturers learn how to manufacture cheaper, and the higher volume also helps them in terms of economies of scale. So that would tend to draw down the cost as soon as the volume goes up, and then incentives could go away, and then that would be more competitive with the conventional gasoline or diesel fuels.
I want to thank you for joining us today, Mr. Jackson. That was all very informative and be helpful to our viewers. Do you have any last words of advice or knowledge that you'd like to give for the general public? Yeah,
I would say there is a considerable amount of new technology that's going to hit the marketplace. We have hybrid technologies now in the marketplace. We have plug-in hybrid technologies are now coming in the marketplace. We have battery electric vehicles now in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And I guess my advice is to look at those technologies and to evaluate them on what their attributes are for your situation. How does it benefit you? Mm. But not only how does it benefit you, think about how it's going to benefit the region too. It may cost a little bit more, but you may have a benefit that you didn't think of, such as HOV lane access. Or maybe it's cheaper for you because you've been able to plug in at home and you don't have to go to a fueling station anymore. Or maybe that's more convenient than going to a fueling station. Maybe a plug-in option provides a benefit that they would value. So look at the proposition that's before you, value those attributes according to your own value systems, and take a hard look at the technology. I think that technology, although there's always trade-offs, but if you look at in terms of valuing what's important for you, and then consider what's important for the region, I think you'll come to the right decisions.
Well, I want to thank you again for joining us. We will look forward to more developments in technology coming in the coming years.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Well, that's our show. I'm Philip Crabb. Thanks for watching. Visit us at cleanairconnections.org to learn how you can help us clean the air that we breathe.